It's a new day. Let's get to work. All right, first things first, grounding the tank. So this is the fuel fill ground. Let's get a little bit of slack here. I ain't too worried about that flopping around. I'm gonna cut it right here. Yeah, good, it's already hooked up there. I'm good to cut. And then I'm gonna add a end onto it. I'm just going to run a nut and bolt through that part right there. What is this? 14 gauge, that is blue. It's a tiny hole, so those are basically the same. I want more contact, so we're just going to run with this one. Alright. Don't have much, but I think that's more than what I need. Alright, good, and don't do this near an actual filled fuel tank. There's no fuel in here, so no need to worry, hopefully. Alright, good enough for me. Y'all can't even see that, I'm an idiot. Alright, time to stick an end on this. No, I'm going to run it through first and then stick an end on it, so. There we go. Let's get this in there. I'm just going to tie it on, I think, and hope for the best. There we go. Let's hope this works. Alright, looks like we're all good on that front. I'm just going to cut this off right here so then I can have all the extra wire I need. We're going to throw the same end on here. So we're going to have two wires coming from this point right here. One is from the fuel fill to here, and the other one is from here to the ground terminal, the negative terminal on the deep cycle battery that we're keeping underneath the console. Alright, good, and you never find a touch. Now, there's really no way to tell which one is which looking down here. I don't know if that'll matter sometime in the future, but I guess at the end of the day I could just pull that green wire from out of there and just yank on a little bit, see which one tightens up. So to really figure out which one's which, I was thinking about identifying them by marking one, but yeah, that don't matter. I'm going to throw a little bit of Loctite on there. That should be good. Slide it through this one. This one should be fine. Alright, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's move this out of sight, out of mind. That should be good, right? What y'all think? I think that's pretty good. Next up, wire to bilge. Okay. Alright, so here's the deal. So as you know, this is an automatic bilge pump. We have three wires. We got the ground, which is obviously the black wire. We have the positive, well, we have two positives, but we have the manual positive, which is the straight brown wire, and then we have the auto positive, which is the white. So if you have to have a 3-level switch, one for a manual on, one for an off, and then one for an automatic. And I know I pointed to this to off, but you get the idea. I'm actually going to forego that for right now and address probably the biggest problem, and that is the fuel feeder hose that needs to be back here, and that is the vent hose that needs to be up there. Now I won't be able to get it up there because the hole that's running through I don't think is big enough, and it'll be really difficult to run it through, unfortunately. But I can, however, run it maybe back here. This is where it used to be, right? Going out to that side, similar to how the bilge is over there. So I may do that, or I'm considering just running it up over there. You know, it's already there, so might as well just run it up and out right there anyway. I don't know. I kind of like that idea because it's easier. So this is running up that way. Let's see what we can do. If it's this hard to get out, zero chance of my getting a hose bigger than that back through. So yeah. I'm also wondering if any like resin kind of dripped on it and it's really helping hold it into place, but I think it's just the fact that it's a real tight squeeze. So as long as I'm not pulling this out, put that there just to ensure. Pull too hard, it's gonna come loose and fly out the other end of the boat. And just for the record, most of this part of the hose won't even be used because I'll have to cut it off. I don't want it to just be sitting there. Oh, there we go. All right. All right. And voila. So what, 10 foot of hose? Maybe 11 foot, I think. 11 foot of hose right there. And great, now I have to grab this. Alright, cool. Let me test something real quick. So this, yeah, would you look at that? Why did I think that? I don't know what I was thinking. I also think this is a 1/16 inch, too big. That's okay. I mean, it's clamped down over there, it ain't going nowhere. Then here I'll also clamp it down.
And then I attempted various different ways to run the hose through the stringer, under the deck and back into that box. Various ways that did not work until it did.
Cool. I'm an idiot. Y'all didn't even get my eureka moment because I hit record, but it was already recording. So I wasn't able to get the hose through where I wanted to, like this, just easily enough. So, you know, I went under there, I pushed it through, I pushed it all the way through, couldn't get it. And that's kind of when that cut off. So I ran this through from this side, couldn't get it. And then I left it in there for some reason. And then I ran this back through the hole that's into this stringer, and it goes into this section to come out this hole back here in the seat. And then I couldn't reach it. Somehow I fit my hole through, or my hand through that hole. Don't know how. Probably why. I don't know. Anyway. But then after I couldn't reach, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get this crap out of the way because it was still in there. I pulled it, felt it tug on something. I'm like, I'm gonna try this again. Stuck my hand in there, and I could reach it. So we have the fuel feeder hose, obviously longer than it needs to be because it used to run to the front of the boat. And then we have the vent hose. So I'm going to keep the vent hose over here. I'm going to plug it in. Plug it in. I'm going to throw it around where the bilge is right there. I need to look at the semantics on that to make sure like there would be no reason for the bilge when it pumps out water for that water to even touch the vent if it's, you know, an inch or two forward or even 6 inches forward. So I should be good on that front, but I'm gonna think about it a little bit more before I actually do it, and then that would make life a little bit easier. You know, I have the bilge out that side, I have the vent out that side, I have the feeder on this side, everything is on that side, then the oil will be over on that seat over there and I'll be all good. What I really need to do now is get a new brass fitting for the fuel in, and I'm just going to take this to Napa and say, hey, I need a brass fitting just like that one, same threads, but to fit inside this, which is probably about the same as that. This is a lot thicker hose than what this is. Speaking of which, but the inner diameter may be the same. Speaking of which, this may have just been a waste of money, considering I could have just used this bit or any that I cut off of there. But that's okay. That's okay. It's easier to run that little hose down in there than this big, thickened outer diameter hose. So yeah. I also have to go about getting fittings for the Teleflex cable for this side and for this side. I gotta look at it again real quick. I'm gonna figure that out. let's take a look at what I have left to do before I run up to Napa. Alright, so I have everything that's been done all up there. Then I have I grounded the fuel tank and fuel fill, rerun and reinstall fuel fill and vent hoses. We're halfway through that because we haven't, I mean, we've done the hoses, I guess, just not the attachments. We'll wait. And then wire and 5200 to bilge pump. Yeah, because that little piece that comes off, I'm just going to 5200 that to the bottom of the bilge area. And, you know, I can replace the bilge pump but leave that in there as needed. I got to wire it, add batteries and wire them to ground and a master switch. And actually it's tomorrow. I have to change these dates. I took like a week off, but tomorrow install throttle and teleflex cables. I may do that today, and I may forego the batteries for today. You know, I may swap those. So let me make sure I don't need anything else from Napa. I probably will, but let's pretend I don't. Let's pretend the teleflex and the fuel brass fitting is all I need. So back here will be the cranking battery. It'll be a 24 marine battery, and it'll be in this box. Ooh, so I can put that box sitting like this. Battery will be on side there, and well, it'll be more like this because the battery terminal cables come out of this little area right here. That's a little gap. Now that little area right there, and it'll run to the switch, which will be right there. And then if I can throw this in here, you know, I want it to be like this, so that if any water comes in, you know, it has nowhere to run because it can't run up if you catch my drift. So I'll have to figure out that bit of semantics there. I'm gonna drill a hole right in here. I'm gonna drill a little tiny hole just to make sure I am where I think I am. And so I'm just going to do it directly above this. Alright. Yeah, that's more than enough room up because I'm going to be having the vent angle up just like that for the hose to come up and over. And yeah, cool. Alright, so I found the perfect hole saw, but I can't find the attachment for the drill. So I think this one, if I can drill this through there, that's about the same size, so hopefully that'll do. And I mean drill it through there, not here. There we go. Alright, what y'all think of this? So, we have the vent hose going out right there, and then it goes back through there where the little wireway is, and then, how much can you see? You can see that part right there, how we have it hooked on to the vent, and, you know, it's up. So, as you can see back here, we have the holes pointing down, and that is because there you go, you can see it better right there. That's how it is, and it should be good. The only thing I may need to do is tighten that nut a little bit. I tightened it quite a bit, but I feel like it's going to rattle down a little bit, so I'll check in once we run a bit. I'm a once over this boat every single week, probably every single time I use it, or at least the day after, just to make sure it's all good. And then that's what it looks like outside of it. We have the bilge popped out right there, and we have that popped out right there. Obviously, it would have been kind of nice. Well, it would have been much nicer to be able to have it in the original spot, which was up there, or of course the old spot, which is right there, just so it was symmetrical. But you know, we don't have that option. You got to work with what you got, and I think that is it's basically the same spot, except a little bit higher on the opposite side than on this side. So, with that being said, I'm happy with that. When I go to Napa, that is the next goal. I have to get the brass fitting for the fuel, so I'm gonna bring the fuel hose. Gotta bring the ends for the teleflex cable, so I'm gonna bring one of the teleflex cables. And then I also want to get, what I need. Oh yeah, I wanna see if they have a switch for the bilge, a bilge switch where we have on, manual on, we have off, and then we have auto. So I'll see if they got that there. If not, I'll just order it online. By the time I finish everything else, I can throw that in the dash and be good. All right, so that trip was basically useless. All I was able to get was the barb for the water filter, when what I really needed was everything I said just a second ago. I also need to order a 2-inch PVC plug, as well as a plug to fit in here, which I'll have to measure that to make sure I got it, but I need to make sure I put a plug in there. So those are the main things that I need, at least that I know I need for now, and then I should be able to get everything running. But for now, let's just run the batteries, or the wires, and we're going to throw the ends on them, and we are going to have the crank battery right here, starting battery, and then the deep cycle battery right here. So let's do that.
Let me just recap the long-winded version of what I was talking about here right now, and that is how everything was set up. So the crank and battery is going to be in that rear box that's on the left of the screen, and then the deep cycle battery is going to be under the console. I wanted them both in that stern box, but they're just not going to fit, I don't think, not manageably at least. So what that means is that I'm going to have to run those two large, I think they're 2-aught battery cables in between my legs there, from the stern through the rigging tube under the console. One is going to be the ground that will connect the two batteries, and then the other one will be the power, so the red cable that will go from the deep cycle to the switch, because I'll have that 3-position switch. It's off and then 1 and then 2. So I'll have the crank on 1 and the deep cycle on 2, what have you. So we're going to have to run those all the way through. That's really what I'm talking about, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. I decided I'm going to run the tape through, get everything, both of them hooked up at once and hope for the best. I figured nothing's going to hurt trying, and turns out I'm glad I did, because it actually worked. It got caught at that corner right there under the stern, but it ended up working. Got the wire ran. Now just got to strip it and put it all together. And that's in my typical fashion. Take the blade to it and get that stripped. But then I was trying to figure out, how the heck am I going to crimp this thing? There's no way that this is going to crimp. I have tried with pliers as well. That ain't doing it. So, well, the best way to go about it that I had access to was, get a chisel and a hammer, bang on it a couple times, and see if it's loose or not. So that's what I did.
Yep, that's in place. I'll give it one more bang for good measure. That ain't wiggling or nothing. Alright, one more for good measure. There we go. Alright, that's your heat shrink. I don't know what people normally do on terminal ends, I'm not gonna lie, but this is what I got, and that should work just fine. And I'll have to cut it to length up there, but I'm gonna hook it up first. Alright, so there is one. There we go. This will go over there. Gotta cut it to size. Realistically, I need no more than this. Cool. Should be good there. Same idea here. Still a lot of busy work, huh? There we go. In regular fashion, camera died, but what we have here is we have the cable, power cable, a positive that goes from this battery terminal to the switch. The negative is already hooked up, going running through, and that is coming out right there. And then that positive is what is already in the switch for the second battery. And as far as that is concerned, we're done with that. We still have to use that big wire from the crank battery, well, from the switch to the motor. But for now, that's how we have it. And I'm gonna clean up a bit, and I think I'm going to throw the other battery in box under there and maybe hook up some of the terminals. All right, all cleaned up and done for the day. Obviously that is the fuel feeder hose that I'll be cutting to length once I get the bulb. Because once I get the bulb, I'll be able to cut it, and then I use the remaining to go right into there. I already have the brass fitting. I just kind of taped it off to make sure nothing would get in there for now. So yeah, that's why that's sitting right there. Oh, let me get that. And we have that wired up, negative to negative from this battery to the other battery, positive to positive right there, and then positive to positive right there, and then obviously the negative, which you can kind of see. It's hidden, but you can see it right there. Obviously that's going to the negative to that one, which will go to the negative on the bus to ground everything that is running through there, which will be everything except for the motor. And now it's a bit overkill for me to have two batteries, in the sense of, oh, you want a cranking battery for that, and then you want a deep cycle for everything you're running up here. You're not running your motor. I'm not, all I have are the nav lights, which at Anchor, and then I don't know, I'll probably put a stereo in here. I want to be prepared for all that stuff, but at the same time, the main reason I got two batteries for redundancy. In case one goes out, I always have the next one to get me home, especially since the baby is going to be here. I probably said that, I probably mentioned this, but we're going to have a baby boy here, our first kid, in a couple weeks. Well, by the time y'all are watching this, the baby's born, but I want to make sure, you know, it's all perfect and safe. In terms of rigidity, it's safe. Bilge, gotta wire that up and make sure it's safe. And then not getting stranded out when one of your battery dies, because if you only have one and you're stranded, I'm going to be able to have two, redundancy, and I'm probably getting demonetized because that song over there, but that's okay. I'm done for today. I'm real hungry, real sweaty. I'm gonna go home and eat some food and drink some water. Y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all next week.